Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Ol'SargeCollects. My name is Dan, and today I'm going to share with you an late 1800s baseball trade card set that I recently completed. This is a 9-card set titled the Blueish Green set. Otherwise, with its nomenclature, it would be the H804-17 set. This set was first inspired. I first got inspired for this set by Shane from Shoebox Legends, and he was interested in another copy of the card you see here titled a Curver. He and I were discussing that, and then I decided to pick up my own copy of it, and from there I decided to continue with the rest of the set. And my goal was to complete the set with varying different ad backs. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to complete that goal because the supply of these cards just kind of dried up. And so I had to, my last couple of cards, I had to just select whichever card I could find with regardless of the ad back. So anyway, let's go ahead and dive into this. Like I said before, this first card is titled a Curver, and it depicts a pitcher from a generic team in the late 1800s. Notice that he doesn't have a baseball glove or cleats. Also, check out that awesome mustache that he's got. So, the ad back for this card is compliments of the QP, ice cream, soda water, lemonade, and milkshake for the hot and thirsty. Call and see us. Pretty neat ad back. I've never seen that ad back again for this set or any other 1800s baseball trade card set. So, second card is titled Foul and Out. This card obviously depicts a batter who is fouling the ball and being called out. I believe that was the game back then. You know, depending on how many times you fouled the ball, you could be called out for doing so. So this ad back is going to be for the Rochester. That's a company that is a carrier of hay and grain and also slings for hoisting the hay and grain. As depicted on the ad back here, you see depictions of a barn and a horse-drawn buggy, and then you see some slings that's hoisting up the bales of hay. Pretty neat. That's from Rochester, New York. The next card is titled Send 'Em In. Now, this card here has my most unique ad back that I've seen. Controversial also. But this card is titled Send 'Em In, and it depicts a batter. Now, I think that this card could be interpreted in two ways. The first way would be that he struck out, and you're sending him back to the dugout. The other way of interpreting this card would be that he walked, and that, you know, you're sending him to first base. So here in a little bit, I'm going to show these cards in a particular order and kind of share a story, in which case I'm going to use the latter interpretation. So now here's the back. This, like I said before, is the most interesting ad back of this set. This one is the Kangaroo Complete Compound. And as you can tell there, it's very interesting. This one is out of Baltimore, Maryland. So I don't even know what this company is, but yeah, pretty different. All right. The next card is titled Hold Your Base. And that looks like to be a coach who's, yelling at his player not to run, not to steal, but to hold his base. This one is a very nice copy, graded a 4. Really love that depiction. Look at his mouth, how wide that the artist rendering is of that. Just really neat. And this one is a blank back, so this one was never used, never put into circulation, is what it appears. So, all right, and the next card is titled "Get Back," and this is another one with the Rochester ad back. So this one looks like a base runner who is being told to get back to base. Not to steal. And notice that his hat's flying off. Notice that nice stashy stash. And then notice he doesn't have a modern running mitt. Just kind of neat. Also the bag. Look at the base. The base is not, well formed. It looks like just like a pillow out there. So anyway, that's the card, and then here's the ad back. Again, you've seen this one before, the Rochester. All right, the next card is titled Great Expectations. I love those lamb chops on the batter. I love that grit in his face. He's just staring down that pitcher, it looks like. And he's got some great expectations of his time at the plate. This ad is for, I can't pronounce it, Ostrut and Goodrich men's, boys, and children's clothing out of Philadelphia. And I've not looked to see if any of these companies are still in existence. But what's really cool about this card in particular is that this is a schedule for one of the Philadelphia teams. So if you can see there, it says at home, they're going to play New York, and then Boston, Detroit, Chicago, Indianapolis. I guess there was a team in Indianapolis at the time. Pittsburgh and Washington. And then when they're abroad, they're going to be playing Washington, Boston, New York, Pittsburgh, Chicago, same teams. And then, so I'm guessing these are the two different teams. So you've got the Athletics and you've got what would be the Phillies, is the way I'm looking at this. Really cool. I'm going to have to go back and look up, were the Phillies around in the late 1800s? Were the Athletics around? Were they actual teams? Based off of the back of this, it looks like they were. So you'll see this ad back again. The next card is this card titled A Home Run, and the advertisement is Beals, Torrey and Company. This is actually an ad front, and these companies had the option of doing this. So the ad says, "You bet I'll get there. Shoes made by Beals, Torrey and Company. Never get left." Now, the reason why I chose that ad in particular to pair with this card is because you get a good glimpse of the boots that this player is using. Notice they're not cleats, they're boots. And another thing I love about this card is look at where the mustache whiskers are, kind of popping out above the shoulders there. Really neat. And also the artist depiction of the ears. This reminds me a lot of like maybe one of Reindeer Studios, artist depictions, one of his doodles. So now, like I said, this is an ad front. This does not have an ad on the back. Okay. The next card is another one of those Ostrut and Goodrich ads. This one's titled Go. This is one of my latest pickups. And this looks like a base runner who's being told to run. And it's pretty neat looking image there. And then the back again is that Phillies athletic schedule. Really cool. Again, I'm going to have to look that up. I really think that that's awesome. So I'm going to have to look that up. And you know what I'm noticing? I'm noticing too that the Athletics on the bottom half, they're playing different teams too, like Metropolitan. I'm going to have to find out what team that was. Brooklyn, Baltimore, Louisville, Cincinnati, St. Louis, and Cleveland. Really neat. So, and the last card is this card titled Victor and Vanquished. I'm sorry. Yeah, Victor and Vanquished. It depicts members of both teams, and they are shaking hands at the end of the game. You know, that's something that I remember doing as a little leaguer, shaking the hands of the opposing team. That's something you don't see today in Major League Baseball. But this image, the original image here, was originally used in a newspaper depicting the Civil War. So I found that to be pretty neat, that they used the same image and basically replaced the rifles with baseball bats for this image here. So this ad back is going to be for JS&M Peckman Company, advertising their stoves. This is from Utica, New York. Here is the ad back. What I like about this one is it shows a stove from the period, really ornate stove, really neat looking. Says for hard coal, best on earth, ornamental, economical, and durable. So, all right, let me go ahead and tell that little story real quick with these cards as I interpret it. But we're going to go back to the beginning. You've got the pitcher who's on the mound, and he's, looking to strike out the side here. Then you've got the first batter up, and he's foul. He fouls out. And then the next batter, like I said, I interpret as he walks and he goes to first base. And that umpire is telling him to hold your base, don't run. So, I'm sorry, not the umpire, the coach. Telling him to hold your base, don't run. He's telling him, get back to your base, don't run. Hold your base. The next batter comes up. The next batter has some great expectations for his time at the plate. He's going to be looking for a big hit. And in fact, he does. He gets a home run. So the other guy on base, he's told, go. Now it's time to run. Run your bases. And they win the game 2-0 with that home run. And there's the end of the game, shaking hands. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video. These cards are definitely in my wheelhouse, something I really enjoy, all these late 1800s baseball trade cards. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed this, and until next time, keep hunting the good stuff.